Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. I know this is a little bit earlier than I am usually able to stream, but I had a half day at work today and decided, why the heck not? It's super cold here currently, which is why I'm kind of all bundled up, and my hair is a hot mess, so I just threw on a beanie. So that's the vibe that we're working with today. But I had some spare time, so I figured we would work on finishing up my Water Genasi Tempest Cleric Gunslinger Pirate today. So let's get started. So I have all the colors down from the last stream that we had that we were working on her together. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm not like... Alright, here's the secret. I'm not good at drawing guns. I know they're just a bunch of shapes put together. I'm not happy with how the gun looks, but honestly, I'm kind of over trying to make it better. So, it's one of those things where you kind of just have to pick your battles. Maybe when I'm in a better state of mind, I will go over this and redo it, but that day is not today. So we're just going to focus on shading today. I kind of forgot that today was Wednesday. Yesterday just kind of felt like Wednesday most of the day, and it super wasn't. It was Tuesday. But my whole week is just kind of off, I feel like. It's a very unusual week. But I also didn't want to stream on my usual time today, because I'm actually going to be hopefully having an earlier night since I have to get up super duper early to catch a flight tomorrow morning for a work thing the next couple of days. So hopefully I'll actually be able to sleep when I'm supposed to be sleeping, because normally if I have to be asleep by a certain time, my body's like, haha, no, you really thought that that was gonna happen? That's cute. Alright, I want a little bit more definition with the nose here, because she has a very, her nose is kind of crooked a little bit, just a little bit, because she's a pirate, and she doesn't know when to shut up. So she's gotten into a couple of scuffles. I feel like that's probably earned her a broken nose at least once. May is just kind of my excuse to be the chaos gremlin that I wish I could always be. Do I want this to be... I think I want that to be a little bit darker. I think that'll help with my values a little bit. I think I don't have her, like, the actual edges of her nose defined enough in the line art, so let's just go ahead and do that really quick. Let's kind of add that in there. Like so. I think May is one of my favorite characters of mine because, aside from the just absolute chaos gremlin factor, she is the... I don't like how that is turning out, so we're just gonna start that all over again. She's the first mate on the ship, and the game of D&D suggests that, you know, your first mate should probably have a pretty high charisma score, and May's charisma score is 9. So that's usually a fun time. She's very abrasive, I guess is a good word for her. She means well. Like, she's not a bad person. I mean, she is a pirate, but you know, she's not bloodthirsty or whatever. But she's definitely chaotic, and while her heart is in the right place, maybe her methods aren't the greatest. She doesn't really think things through very well. And boy howdy, does she have a temper. And she cusses like a sailor, which kind of just gives me free rein to not censor myself like I normally would when I play her. Good morning. I am cold, Carolyn. It's fucking cold here. Also, Lise, hello. Welcome on in. Yeah, I woke up. I had to go into the office for just a little bit today, before my day off could really start, and I had to scrape frost off of my car, which sucks, because I was like, it's November. Like, what the hell? I do have some coffee, because I need to stay up. I hesitate to tell you what our high will be today. Well, that's fine, because I'm going to be missing this weather starting tomorrow when I am in Texas until Sunday. I don't actually know what the weather's going to be like in Texas while we're there, but I bet it's going to be warmer than it is here. By a lot, probably, if I had to guess. And don't get me wrong, I love when it's cold, because then I can bundle up and be cozy and wear hoodies. I got some fuzzy socks on. I freaking love this weather. I don't love being outside in it, but being inside during this weather is great. Yes, the dreaded frost. It wouldn't be so bad if I like if my car didn't suck, and it just takes so long to heat up. Like if I had a better car, I probably wouldn't have had to scrape my windows, because I could have just like left it on defrost and it would have been fine in like 5 minutes, but my car doesn't, it's not very good at that, so I had to give her a little bit of help. It's perfect here, upper 70s and sunny, not too hot, not too cold. I am jealous. I adore weather like that. Honestly, anything that's like between like 50 to 75 is pretty ideal for me. I'm very much of the you can add more layers, but you can't take, there's only so much you can take off sort of club. And I hate sweating, so the colder the better. Like, I do have my fan on in the background, because if I leave the air stagnant for too long, I'll start to feel the heat that's on, and then I'll start to get sweaty. But if I turn the heat off, then it's too cold. So it's just, it's dumb. Daddy Dopest, hello! Welcome on in! Pops! I also hate schwetting. It's the worst. Perfect wall painting weather, which is the plan for the weekend. That sounds like fun. I don't remember the last time I had to paint a wall. Probably the last time I actually lived in my parents' house. Actually probably when we moved in for the first time, which was many years ago. I think I was in like 8th grade. But I don't own a home, so I don't get to paint my walls. The walls are the colors that they are, and I'm gonna like it. Which is to say they're all white. But that's why I just hang up a bunch of art. So I haven't really decided how exactly I want to... Like, I know how I envision her hair to be, because it's very, like, flowy and almost kind of has a mind of its own, and is very animated, like water, and it reacts to her emotions. So I haven't really decided if I want to shade it like I would shade regular hair, but I think I'm gonna loosely start it that way just to see if I like the direction that that's going in, and then if I don't, then I'll adjust it. This is gonna be a very chill sort of stream. I don't know if y'all got that vibe yet, but very chill stream. I'm gonna go until I feel like I'm done, or until we finish this. I do have another character to work on, if I'm not feeling like death. We have my other character, Ambrosia, who's my tiefling bard. Because I don't know how long this is going to take me to do. May doesn't have a lot of complex... Like, she doesn't have a lot of complexities to her character design. So I was worried that maybe I would finish this too soon. And while I don't mind cutting off at like an hour, hour and a half, if I managed to finish this in like 45 minutes, which I doubt, but if I did, I was like, ooh, maybe I should have something as a backup just in case. I'm from NorCal. Nice! Gotta find that perfect cozy level. Exactly. I freaking love cozy things. Waves up north. I demand 4 hours of art streaming. You know, I could actually do that today if I really wanted to. I don't know that I, like, want to. I do have to finish laundry and, like, pack and everything. But today would be a good day to do it because I can start early. That's kind of what I set aside Sundays to do. Ooh, that was a lot of S sounds. I'm sorry. But, like, I wanted to start doing at least one Sunday a month. Outside of my normal schedule, streaming as long as I want to, anywhere from an hour to 4 or 6, however long I want, to kind of work on stuff for myself, or like any commissions that I have at the time, which I don't currently have and won't have until like probably February at this point. Where's I going with that? Oh, because Sundays are kind of the only day that I don't really have anything going on. Like, I work during the week, and then I have 2.5 really, campaigns. I say 3.5 or 2.5 because one of them is technically every other week. So my after work schedule is pretty full right now. And then I stream usually, if I can, on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I get, like, one of these days I'll end up having a super long stream because I'll just get so hyper-focused that I'll forget to do literally anything else, and then probably forget that I'm on stream. Because ADD is fun. Love flowy water hair. Yes! When she gets flustered or, like, angry, I imagine it's very, like, Studio Ghibli hair where it just kind of, like, rises up and has that sort of animated feel to it. My half-orc water genasi barbarian also has hair like that. Ooh, that's a really cool combo. Furbed. What's furbed? Yes, many campaigns. We're actually coming close to the end of our my Thursday campaign, I think. And that one's been going on for over 3 years. We're gonna be doing another game. I think we've more or less decided on it's either going to be just a straight up Humblewood game, or it's going to be Humblewood setting Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign. I don't know if RDM has actually decided yet. But probably close to the new year, we're going to be doing another, we'll be ready for our second campaign. And then my Dragonlords campaign on Saturdays, we just recently started up again, because scheduling has kind of been a bitch, but we already finished like the main stuff to do in Dragonlord, so now it's just a bunch of little adventures after the fact to get us to level 20. That's actually, I get to play Ambrosia for the first time ever in a campaign, which is very exciting and nerve-wracking as hell because she's like the exact opposite of me. And I've only ever played her via text RP and like in text-based stuff, so it's interesting finding my comfort level while still portraying her the way I imagine her in voice RP. And then Tuesdays, every other Tuesday, we kind of have like almost like a quest of the week sort of thing going on, where a lot of us are in very like serious campaigns or long running campaigns, and we kind of just wanted something silly to do, where we wouldn't have to worry about like character death, or like if we just wanted to swap out a character, like if we weren't vibing with the one that we had, we could swap out whenever we want. and just doing like little quests here and there, which has been a lot of fun. I play a variant tiefling grave cleric named Piety, but she goes by Pi, and they're freaking adorable and very inspired by Fern from Exandria Unlimited. Slightly unintentionally so. I didn't honestly know what her personality was going to be until we started the first game, and that's just kind of what came out. She's very sweet though, and she's a lot of fun to play. I got my reprisal into the New Year's. Sounds really cool. It is. I freaking love the groups that I'm in, and like I love how much more, like, I still, don't get me wrong, I still am very I'm a very anxious being. It's because of the anxiety. I'm a very anxious person, and my social anxiety especially. But I've gotten a lot more comfortable with playing D&D, and like realizing that it doesn't, like, there's no like right way. Like, D&D is a game where you kind of have to roll with the punches and the mistakes that your character makes, which as a perfectionist is a very difficult concept to come to grips to. But I'm fortunate in that I have fantastic people at my table who are very patient with me, and I feel like I'm also getting better at improv. I'm still like not great at it, but I'm getting better at it. I think that's kind of the biggest struggle for me when it comes to my games, is just sometimes I just black out like over the simplest little prompts, and then I'm like, what do I say? Watching in silence, but here to see hot pirate babe. Hi, Steven. She is a hot pirate babe. Merzal is a lucky man. He's also a very patient man, because May is a lot. Not many people can handle May. Love Grave Cleric. I'm playing one in my current campaign. Hell yeah. We're only level 3, but it's a lot of fun so far. I kind of gravitate towards support-based characters. Except in my Thursday campaign. I play Luciana, who's a sorcerer. She's also my first, like, I'll say she was my first real D&D character that I, like, enjoyed playing and have played for a long time, and have had fun watching her kind of evolve as the campaign has evolved. Considering I started out with her as not very fleshed out, because I wasn't really sure if I was gonna like the group that I was playing in, and also I was very nervous and just kind of I didn't want to, I don't know, draw too much attention to myself, I guess. So, and like I didn't want to fall in love with the character if I wasn't going to stick with the group, kind of thing. So I kept it very broad, and I hate to say it, but she did kind of start out as generic. I feel like, comparatively, but she's grown so much, while still keeping a lot of the original sort of view I had for her after the first couple of sessions, when I realized, oh, I really click with this group actually, and this is a lot of fun, and I like playing D&D. And now I kind of know what I'm doing, and I ended up writing I ended up writing like a 4 or 5 page backstory for her after the fact, but I didn't tell my DM, because I really kind of just wrote it for myself, and I didn't envision it making much of a difference in gameplay, right? Forgetting that I so it was all in a Google Doc, and I had shared the Google Doc with our DM when I first sent him my character information and stuff, because I had some basic, like, this is her personality, this is how old she is, this is approximately what she looks like, all that fun stuff. This is a loose idea of what her background might be. And then he actually took all of he read it and didn't tell me, and then it inspired him to make an entire, like, story arc plotline within Silvery Moon, which is where Luciana is from, and involve her family in it. So I can't even begin to describe how absolutely buck wild it was to like realize that plot hook happened and take it, and then like a session later get to interact and meet with these characters that I wrote into the story inadvertently. It was so cool. And I think that's the point where I was like, okay, I think I understand now, like, why people love this game so much. Like, it was just the coolest feeling ever. And I have amazing DMs, honestly. Like, every single person that runs a game that I'm in is fantastic and just so good at it. And I love the storytelling. And even when there isn't, like, a story to tell, I love, like, they're all so good at, like, improv and just making things interesting and kind of rolling with the punches and understanding that for some of our groups, it is very much herding cats every week. It's just so cool. I love D&D. I'm kind of in lurk mode now, but talking about the Flaming Skull not being very fleshed out just me. Listen, she didn't start out as a Flaming Skull. We've been through this already, Carolyn. Not fleshed out characters actually make it more fun, which is something that I didn't learn until very late in the game, Pops. I really thought that, like, you had to know every single thing about your character, and if you didn't know a piece of information right there and then that you were a bad player at D&D and all this stupid shit that, like, I don't even know where I got this idea from. I think I just made it up in my head and I was like, this is how you play D&D. If you don't, it's wrong. And I very quickly learned that that's not the case. And it is a lot more fun to have, like, a concept of a character, or at the very least, if you have a solid idea of your character, understanding that when you play them in a game, you kind of have to be flexible, right? Because unless it's not the style of the game you're playing, but a lot of the time your character will go through changes and, you know, growth, and, you know, they're not going to be stagnant unless that's the style of play that you're into, which is totally fine. But, you know, just by virtue of things happening around them, they're going to change, and their view of the world is going to change, and the people that they're with are going to influence them, even in a silly way. Like, I feel like even in my chaotic, like, one-shots that I've played in, I feel like I started in with, like, a very basic character, and then so much stuff happened in the one-shot where I started building off of it, and then I have a more, like, fully formed character by the end of it. Looks at all my characters. Yeah, fully fleshed out doesn't happen. I used to think that, like, if I had an idea, it had to be fully fleshed out or else I couldn't play the character. And I'm very glad that I've since strayed from that path of thinking, because that's just not accurate. Oh, these are stripes. I forgot what the fuck these even were. It's been a while since I even looked at this piece, that I just kind of forgot that I had red stripes on this dress that you might not actually be able to see once I'm done shading it, so I might have to change that later. There's some cleaning up with these lines that I'm gonna have to do at some point too. There are a gazillion different ways to play TTRPG and different kinds of characters people to enjoy. Different kinds of characters people to enjoy playing. Some are really happy with one-dimensional characters, others have the need for three-dimensional space. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And, like, it really depends on the people at your table and the kind of game that you're running. And, like, I've had characters that started out as just one-shot characters that I had never intended to pick up ever again, and they ended up having, like, because I'm I hyper-focus on everything. They ended up having like fully fleshed out backstories, and then I have characters that I've intended for a campaign and just never built upon, and let the game sort of take over that aspect of it for me. And honestly, I think it's better for it. So I'm not to toot my own horn here, but I am pretty happy with the personal growth that I've gone through the past couple of years of playing D&D and other TTRPGs too. Like, I really like that I've had the opportunity to play a couple of different ones that aren't D&D. I tried Pathfinder for like a little bit. It's too crunchy for me. I'm not a huge fan, but Witch Punks is really fun. Oh, there was a cat game that we played. Is it called The Secret of Cats? I don't know. It was a really cool game where we were cats and there was like magic and shit. And we had to figure it out, and it was a lot of fun. It was very different mechanics. I think it was based on the Gumshoe system. And then Fall of Delta Green was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing it, and I think I realized that even though it was fun, I'm not good at that genre of game, which is also something I'm learning as I go. But I'm always down to try a game to see if I actually enjoy it before I just completely write it off as, no, I'm never playing that game. Oh, I'm missing things in chat. I'm sorry. To be honest, as a DM, I don't like characters, especially low level with massive backstories. You're starting your adventure and letting it change your perspective. Exactly. That's another lesson that I didn't learn until maybe a little bit later. But like, yeah, your level 1 or level 3 even character shouldn't have a fully fleshed out background because they're still pretty new at this shit. Like, unless they're like an older character or like a character that lives a really long time, like an elf, maybe you could have a little bit more fleshed out, but still, like, the story that you're playing in is going to be making a lot of those decisions for you. I mean, I was the same way for a while, and then I had to know my character in order to get an accurate conversation, but like, that's dumb. Why did I think things had to happen a certain way? Exactly. I'm very much like, these are the rules that I've imagined in my head, and nobody else is following except me. And then I make it harder for myself, and then I'm like, eventually I have that click, and I'm like, oh, I don't actually need to do that. Nobody else is doing that. Why am I doing that? This is stupid. Yeah, I just started DMing, and I got characters that have zero backstory and some characters that have novel-sized backstories. It's still very intimidating. I've never DM'd a campaign before. I've only ever run literally a handful of one-shots. But if I were to run a campaign, I feel like having a mix of that would be really nice, because the ones that don't have a really intricate backstory, you can kind of work with the player and like figure out how you want to integrate them into the world, or maybe have them figure that out along the way, which is really nice. To me, the best moments are the unexpected ones. Also, hey Shay, good to see you streaming. Hi, welcome on in, Ratner. It's nice to see you. I know I'm a little bit early today because I had a half day off, which is few and far between, so I figured might as well get some personal work done in the meantime. Call of Cthulhu style games are very different than D&D. Yes, they are. They're very different. The one thing that I do kind of like about that style of game, at least with we played Fall of Delta Green, which is based on the same thing. There isn't like a like there's kind of skill checks, but not really, and it's one of those things where like everything is there for you. It's just a matter of how successful you are at figuring it out, and you have the chance to miss things, but you also have the chance to find things later on down the road, so you're never really missing the whole puzzle unless you, I don't know, fail real hard. I don't know. We were actually very successful in our Fall of Delta Green game. Nobody died, which was amazing. I mean, players can read a 10-page backstory if they like. They just shouldn't expect it to be the center of the campaign. Absolutely. Every character deserves the same spotlight, and it's usually more about the story of the group together with solos mixed in. 100%. I feel like sometimes that might be a little bit daunting, maybe as a DM, to kind of balance. And I know for a fact that as a player, that was something that I very much kept in the back of my head and do still try to keep in the back of my head, because I'm one of those people where I can't tell, like, maybe this is just me. I can't tell if I'm being too passive, and then I'll compensate it, and then I feel like I'm bulldozing, and I try to find that sort of middle ground of being an active player at the table without making it the Luciana show, because it's not at all. And Luciana, it helps that Luciana is not the type of character to do that either. So like, but yeah, I feel like honestly, as cool as it was to have parts of my backstory end up shaping some of the plot and like introducing characters that way, like NPCs and stuff and lore and a whole like story arc, as fun as that was, the most memorable moments of that entire like couple of in real life months when we were doing that were the moments where the other players in my party were interacting with these things and building off of them and finding ways to then be a part of that story where it didn't feel like, oh, now we're doing a Luciana thing, TM, so only Luciana can do stuff. That wasn't the feel at all, and I think that's kind of at first what I was really worried about when I realized what was going on. And I think that just also is a credit to a really good DM who was able to do something like that without making it seem like the Luciana story, if that makes any sense. How many pieces do you want to find? Call of Cthulhu has it finding them all. It isn't necessarily a good thing. Last game I ran would ask for listen checks. Those who made it heard something, but lost sanity. Exactly. Like, there were a couple of things in Fall of Delta Green that we missed, but probably for the better. Like, we kind of did, like, a wrap-up after the fact, and Bro was actually running it, and they were kind of going over a couple of things that we quote-unquote missed, but not to the detriment of the game, and some of which could have been a detriment to our characters, or some of which could have been a detriment to the game, because there were a couple of paths that you could have taken that would have brought about the end game much sooner and with much more deadly consequences depending on what triggered it. It's a very interesting game. I personally, I think my hang-up for that game specifically is that it's set in 1968. And boy howdy, my brain doesn't fucking, like, I've always had issues with history and like remembering what happened when and what was invented during what time and what was available. Like, it's all fascinating to me and I love learning about history, but my brain can't like put the things together. So I feel like the time period kind of maybe was a little bit screwy for me, and I don't know how much of that was like a self-sabotage and how much of that was just not my cup of tea. I feel like that was just really my personal hang-up. But I played Dr. Virginia Fortini, also one of the support characters, because it's just what I gravitate towards. But luckily, part of Fall of Delta Green is you really don't want to be in combat. Like, you really don't want to be in combat. You want to try to be as not combat as possible if you can help it. Because combat is run very differently than in D&D. I can imagine it's run similarly in Call of Cthulhu. And you sure as shit don't want to fight whatever it is you're trying to keep cultists from summoning, because it's probably not going to go well for you. Surviving Call of Cthulhu with sanity is to ignore everything that's suspicious and just sit in the bar and have some drinks and play poker. That is one way to do it, yeah. My Masks of Nyarlathotep. You'd think I'd be able to say that word correctly because that's one of the big bads of my Thursday campaign. That guy, my character always handed off the book to someone else to read. Also solved cases using gun. Fantastic. 1968, no problem. There are no computers, no internet, and only 4 TV channels. Yeah, a lot of it was like I was trying to make references, and then I had to stop and be like, that didn't exist, so she wouldn't say that. I think I really just got caught up in like the don't play this the wrong way again, because it's just my default of perfectionism or whatever is wrong with my brain. Also playing a like super experienced surgeon or whatever, having very little. Carolyn, I feel like you would have adored being able to play my character actually in this game. But Shay, I'm not very medically knowledgeable. So that was always fun to try to be like, gee, I really hope a medical emergency doesn't come up because I'm just gonna make shit up because I don't know what I'm talking about. Luckily, it didn't. I don't even think my character fired a gun. The only time she ever drew her weapon was at the very end when we had to stop all the people from summoning the big bad, and I just fucking pistol whipped one of the teenagers in the back of the head and knocked them unconscious and stopped them from doing the ritual, and everybody else sprung into action and everything was good and nobody died. It was great. Oh, the last game, creature attacked one of the investigators, yeeted them against the wall for 13 damage, insta-kill. Oh, buddy. Have your character be a time traveler who keeps forgetting when they are. Me. Just me, literally. Me. The sanity mechanic in Call of Cthulhu is a blessing and a curse. You have to actively ignore it existing and work against your survival instinct to make it shine. It's a bit heavy on players, in my honest opinion. Could use an alternative approach. That's fair. Another type of game I'm just not good at as a player but adore as an audience member is like games of intrigue, like Vampire the Masquerade. I feel like I wouldn't be good at, but I have a lot of fun like watching people play that game because I can follow intrigue as an audience member, but for some reason as a player I'm just like deer in headlights. Like I don't fucking Gaslight Cthulhu is fun playing a medical professional since you're in the late 1800s. Anything can be medical. That's like the comic where it's like old-timey doctors be like, you have ghosts in your blood, you should do cocaine about it or whatever. That's one of my favorite comics. Anesthesia, we have booze and sticks. It's basically the same thing. Alright, I'm gonna save before I forget to. Just do a little stretch. The intrigue comes naturally over time in World of Darkness games. It's like everything else in life training. That's valid. My Achilles heel is puzzles. If a DM throws puzzle at me, I'm lost. I'm okay at puzzles. It really depends on the puzzle. I'm pretty good at riddles because I like words and word-based things. Pausing for coffee. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a kitty cat on my mug. This Christmas. This is Tangled Up with Love. I have a lot of cats stuff. Apply chloroform to poor portion. Sure, why not? Whatever gets the job done, am I right? Honestly, so May here is a Gunslinger Tempest Cleric, so in game she's level 10, 5 layers of fighter, 5 layers. Jesus, words are hard. 5 levels of fighter, 5 levels of Tempest Cleric. In the Nexus, she is 6 levels of Cleric because we leveled up in the Nexus. But her whole vibe is just kind of, I don't remember what anime it's from, but that anime screenshot where the guy's like cocking his gun and he's like, I'm a healer, but that's just May. May shoots first and asks questions later. Do I want to bump this up. I think I will actually leave it that way. Yeah, I think we're gonna leave it that way. I'm checking against my other monitor because it's a little bit better. Kitty! Kitty emotes! All the kitty emotes. How many kitty emotes do I have? Probably not enough. I don't have enough. I'm subbed to a bunch of people though. The best tool of a DM, if he needs time, is throw a puzzle riddle at the players, let them devolve into chaos as they debate what it means. We had a riddle. Oh, we had a puzzle. I guess it was technically a puzzle within a riddle. It was ridiculous. In our Thursday campaign, where even the DM was like, I know what the answer is, but I don't fucking remember how I got there. He was just like, I think this one was maybe too hard because I forgot how it was supposed to be solved. I don't think we ended up getting it either. I think we had, like, we literally spent like a session and a half trying to figure it out. I think we ended up cheesing it somehow. Not a real fan of puzzles either. Make them fit and serve a purpose without being so simple. Every village pig farmer could solve them is annoyingly hard. Because if you overcomplicate it, your players are lost, and what's that doing for the game? Literally give me like any like second grade level riddle or puzzle, and I guarantee you I will overthink the shit out of it. You don't even have to do the work. I'll do the work for you. I will make it needlessly complicated because it's just how I am. I usually just go to the bathroom, come back to the party having long-winded conversations about innate things. Okay, now I want to know what this anime is now. Like super don't know. Oh, Pops has got you. After we're gonna mix. Thank you, Pops. Yeah, I guess that works as well. I don't know. Is that I'm aware of the screenshot. I'm not aware of the actual anime that it's from. I don't have time to watch all the anime that I want to watch in the world. All right. Now we're going to do highlights, which is always fun. I think normally what I do for highlights is I'll put it on the shine layer, and then I'll pick like the color that I'm coloring over, and then ever so slightly lighter, because then it does this like cool sort of like shiny effect to it. I don't know that I want to start off with that today. My voice cracked. That was fun. I think I want to try something a little bit different. And I'm allowed to because this is a piece for myself and not like a commissioned piece, so I feel a little bit more comfortable doing new things for it. Just constantly saving. I rather hand out the player characters some weed cookies and let them play it out than give them a puzzle. I was so proud of the riddle I came up for with Eds to give the Sphinx last night, and they guessed it. They did! Spoiler alert, Carolyn. So I figured out the answer, and then I did roll to see if the Sphinx would know the answer, and I rolled really high. I'm sorry. Because I was like, well, that's not fair if, like, as an NPC for it to just kind of happen. So I was like, oh, I'll leave it up to a roll. And Avre was really like, no, you know this. And I'm like, fuck, alright. But they really enjoyed your story. Okay, yes, I do like that. May or may not have been my Tomb of Annihilation group one. Pops, how many Tomb of Annihilation groups do you have? I feel like you've mentioned this before and I've just forgotten. Her feeling of deflation was not just hers. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. One of these days, I will run a campaign. You know, with all the free time I have. But I've only ever run, like... Oh, let's put that as a clipping group before I fuck everything up. I've run 2 one-shots. Like, full one-shots before. It's a lot of fun. But I don't know if I would be very good at running a full campaign, but I want to try someday. Of like, I have an idea that I've been working on for a short campaign, where like just shooting for a couple of months long and then that's it. Not like a super long-standing thing, but I guess that really depends on the players and how things go. But being able to run combat for little things like that, because honestly, I think what's really going to get me once I'm comfortable running combat is the improv that you inevitably have to do as a GM, because I'm so not good at improv. My DM on Thursday, towards the beginning of when we started playing, asked me like the most basic fucking roleplay question, because I had Luciana sitting around reading a book or whatever during some downtime, and they had an NPC come up and be like, "Oh, what book are you reading?" And I was like, deer in headlights. I was like looking through her inventory like, okay, I can't make up a book on the spot because if it's not in her inventory, it doesn't exist. So she does have a book in her inventory, but you know, that's not a lot of fun. It was like History of Elemental Evil. I was like, she wouldn't be reading that where she is currently. And I was like, well, I'll just make up a book. Fuck the rules. And then I couldn't think of a book title. Like, I couldn't make one up. I just totally froze and I felt really stupid. I've gotten better since then, but I will never forget that day where I was just like, I can't even answer like the simplest like prompt. The simplest improv prompt. That was within the first like 2 months of playing D&D for realistically the first time though. I had a campaign before that, but it was fun at the time, but like in hindsight, it wasn't very fun, and I'm kind of glad that it ended when it did. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I played a bard, and I had no idea how to play a bard. I was really just a ranger with like some slightly fancier spells the way I was playing it. Okay, Tuskglove, I wasn't even aware of Tuskglove at this point. Like, this was before I even started Critical Role. Otherwise, I probably... Also, no, Lucy wouldn't be reading Tuskglove. Certainly not in public. I may... sorry, I keep missing things in chat. And now she has all this icky candy. She's still not sure what she'll do with it. She can trade it out for magic candies in the market. Only 2 groups of Tomb of Annihilation. I may have others wanting me to run it again. Pops, you need a break. I have not DM'd since before y'all were born. Everyone's a glutton for punishment, it seems. Yes. Need to find me a DM to run a Infiltration Tiamat campaign. That with her defeat instantly bridges over to the 9 Hells to defeat the Lords. Ooh. Oh, I kind of really want to run Tomb of Annihilation again. I've learned so much since running it now twice. That's awesome. You don't get it. Candy is candy, and it's all he to her. Okay, Ez has friends. She can give her friends the candy. Feed it to the chickens. I'm sure they will love the magical chaos that would come from feeding chickens magical candy. And today is the day the chat learned that Shay can't wink, but you know what? I tried, and that's all that matters. Wink. There, I said it. That counts. More shinies on here. I think I will actually use the shine layer for the more metallic bits and bobs because it makes a really cool effect when I use it on, like, from metals and such. It makes it look really, really realistic in my opinion. Give Grell the candy, nothing bad would ever happen. I don't trust you with that. Well, okay, nothing bad, maybe, but certainly chaotic things. I say go for it. Girl is a little bit busy at the moment, though. Concern, yes. This gives me many ideas now. See, you're welcome! Candy is useful. Alright, now we're gonna do a sort of red over here. We're doing on time. Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm like trying to keep an eye on time mostly because I'm trying to get laundry done today and I hate laundry. I promise I'm not going to bitch about chores the entire stream, but good lord, I hate laundry. I have so much laundry to catch up on. And I've been catching up on it for like what feels like forever. But this is just a load of stuff that I'm going to be packing, so I super need to make sure that it's done in a timely fashion. Because I have to wake up at 4 in the morning tomorrow. in order to catch my ride to the airport, to catch my flight. It's just not fun. Ez wasn't 100% wrong, but also was 100% right. It's a thing. Hey, that's when I wake up, because you are superhuman, Pops. I don't... Listen, Pops, you're fantastic. You're a wonderful human being, is what I'm prefacing this with, and it's true. I don't trust anybody who willingly wakes up that early. Like, that is so early. I'll be awake. I won't be conscious, but I'll be awake. Or I go to bed at 10:30 p.m. That's when I try to go to sleep, usually. Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes I don't go to bed until much later. Kind of depends on what I am doing. Because I very easily get sidetracked. Yes, I do like that. However, I think I want to go back in here and just really darken that up. One nice thing about streaming this early is I don't actually have to turn on my ring light because my setup is like directly against the window. It's very bright out today. Okay. Now we're gonna do her hair highlights. Hope you don't have long flight delays. Hope I don't have flight delays at all, honestly. Because it's very much hit the ground running from noon tomorrow until... When's my flight on Sunday? Until like approximately noon on Sunday when I have to get my ass to the airport again to go home. So I'm not technically I'm not part of the events crew at work. For those who are new here, I work for a pediatric brain cancer charity foundation called The Cure Starts Now. I've done some fundraising for it before on stream. And every 2 years or so, we have a medical symposium where a bunch of DIPG and DMG researchers and families in the fight and collaborative funding partners come together, and we do a whole bunch of like seminars and meetings and talk about medical breakthroughs and what we've learned so far, and it's all to nerf cancer, because fuck cancer. And with that is a lot of moving pieces, and this is actually the first symposium that I'm going to since I've been working there, because the last one we had was right around when I was first hired on, and it was in Sydney, Australia, and we had a couple more people on the team back then, so I was the one who was just kind of staying behind and holding the fort down. But I actually get to attend this year, which is very exciting. I kind of get to see it all in action. But it is very long days. It's going to be very tiring. So I can't guarantee a stream on Monday because I don't know how much of a brain cell I'll have on Monday. But that's why I kind of wanted to at least get some time in today. Alright, I think I also want to add some like a sea foam sort of effect. Kind of. I used to be awake at 4 a.m. all the time, but that's because it was 3 hours before shift end. Oof. That is rough. I do not envy that at all. Okay, this isn't the right brush for what I want to do. Maybe something more like that. Just like little specklies. Kind of like sea foam. I don't know if that's gonna translate well. I think maybe that's too light. I don't really know what I'm trying to do. I can see it in my head, but like... Actually, you know what? I do have... Maybe a brush might work for this. We're gonna do another layer. We're gonna do spray? Yeah, that's what I want, I think. Bump that up. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. And then that way I can just kind of, if I go over it a little bit, I can just erase the bits that I don't want. That's what I wanted to happen. Very, very, very subtle texture. Yeah. Nailed it. Okay. Saving. And then we're going to move on to the rest of her clothes and adding some of the highlights for those. I should also say that I never found night shift awful. I have never ever been a morning person. I'm also not really a morning person. Like, I'll be awake if you really need me to be, but like my ideal time to wake up is like 9 a.m. If I ever end up sleeping any later than that, I usually feel awful about it. So like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. at the absolute latest. But during the week I'm up at like 6:15, 6:30 to get ready for work. A piece of cat hair stuck to my tablet. Okay, fixed it. I actually don't know where the cats are today. Rue might be sleeping on the bed. Whiskey has a new spot downstairs, in front of the fan. Or, well, at the base of the fan, because it's one of those standing oscillating fans that has like the crisscross legs at the base, which makes a shape. And my cats love sitting in shapes. And that just happens to be the shape that he enjoys sitting in lately. The worst shift I ever worked was 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. No social life at all. Ugh. That sounds awful. I could never. And I barely have a social life now, so like, oof, buddy. Now there's some fun stuff that I'm going to be doing for her necklace, but we're not going to get to that just yet. It is going to have like this lightning crackling effect in it, because it's technically her holy symbol. Save. The more I look at this gun, the more it bothers me, but I don't have the energy to fix it. I'll redraw it one of these days, probably. I feel like... No. Well... It's debating looking up some reference. I feel like this bit is just so boring looking. I might take a moment in a second to just look up some, like, pistol references to see if there's any fun, like, engraving I could maybe add. Like, base off of. Why do guns have to be gun-shaped? Exactly! Like, I know they're just shapes put together, as all things are, but gosh, they're so hard to draw. I'm not very good at drawing mechanical things. Like, you could not pay me enough money to draw a car. I'm so sorry. You could not pay me enough money to draw a car, or like any sort of mech. I would be willing to do like robotic pieces to a character, like if they had some sort of prosthetic or something like that. That I'd be willing to do. It's a concentrated area, and some of it I can just wing it, and some of it I might even be able to like make up depending on, you know, what it is. I just drawing cars does not spark joy for me. You could not pay me enough money to draw a robot, like a full robot. Like I couldn't draw a Gundam. Sorry. Maybe someday. I don't actually like the way that shadow looks. That doesn't look good. I think that's maybe just not right. We're gonna fix this because that doesn't look right. I don't like the shapes it's making. We're gonna fix it. So no, no fresh cut grass fan art for you, poor little Letters. I would make an exception for Letters because Letters is adorable. Spoiler alert for Campaign 3 if you haven't watched it already. I guess that's a spoiler of one of the characters. He's a robot. Or they're a robot, excuse me. Just give her a Flash Gordon gun. That should fit our artsy needs. Like, I feel like she wouldn't have a cool gun, like, yet. Her gun isn't magical or anything. It would just be like a regular ass pistol. Or pepper box, technically is what it is. It's a pepper box. But maybe someday she'll get a cool gun. In-game. I still feel like her gun should shoot lightning bolts. That would be fucking rad. FCG feels so heavily influenced by the Ted Lasso TV series. I can see that. Sam Riegel is just a time. I'm very excited for this new campaign. I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't know if everybody who's watching has watched. Keeping my channel spoiler free is near impossible, but considering we're so early into the series, into the campaign, I will try to do my hardest to keep it as, you know, or at the very least be like, hey, you might want to mute for the next couple minutes if that's what we're talking about. They're playing this week, right? I know they mentioned at some point that, like, they were going to have scheduled days off. And I don't remember if that was this week or next week, or if they're not doing it this month because the holiday, so they're just going to have the holiday off. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm not going to be able to watch it either way. I'll be working, but... And even when I'm not working, I can't feasibly stay up until... What would it be? 1 a.m.? Because normally I can't watch it because I have my game on Thursdays. So I usually just catch the VOD on Friday after work. Last Thursday off, stuff doesn't start till 2022. Okay. Can I find this on, like, YouTube? Yes, you can find Critical Role on YouTube. If that's what you're referring to. Which Critical Role is the podcast that we're referring to currently. I thought the days up. I already read that. Or just don't watch Critical Role. It's valid. Can't be spoiled then. That's also valid. I think the end of the month break only starts next year. Okay. Thank you for clarifying for me. I'm so excited to see where things go. This campaign really does feel like they get to be a little bit more unhinged. So far, like, I feel like the Mighty Nine really kind of helped them, and this is all speculation, of course, I don't know these people in real life, but, like, it feels to me like the second campaign really helped them embrace further their inner chaos demons, their inner gremlins, without the risk of, like, not telling us, like, without the risk of upsetting people with expectations who came off of campaign 1. But now I think they've started to finally be like, this, not that they haven't in the past, because they've made it very clear that they don't really make Critical Role for anybody except themselves and the story that they want to tell, which I think is fantastic. But I think they're really starting to lean into we can really kind of just do what we want to do because this is our show. I was going to say Chaos Reigns. Yes, Chaos Reigns. Because there was some chaos in Campaign 1, but it was kind of like their maiden voyage into the whole everything that they have now become. So I feel like maybe they were reining it a little bit, which is very difficult to do for Sam Riegel, I feel like. But I digress. That's one of the reasons why I like playing May, because I get to just be a fucking gremlin. She's a lot of fun to play. Because unlike myself, May doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about her, except her crew. Now we're gonna add some actual shinies. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't really have a solid light source for this piece. I'm kind of just doing what feels right. Mollymawk was made of chaos, absolutely. I have the biggest conflicted feelings for Talisman's character because they're like a fusion perfect of both mine and my friend's characters. That's pretty cool. I can see how that would be conflicting though. Critical Role is pardon a D&D trophy wife though. It's not how home games generally happen in style or production value. And the third show now pretty much solidifies that. While it's still D&D, it's a huge commercial machine catered to the nerd market. I agree with you on some parts of that. I agree that, and this took me a little bit of time to figure out personally, but like, it is not a reflection of D&D games as a whole, and I also don't think it was ever meant to be that. I think it is very much a bunch of nerds sitting around a table with the means to play the epic game that they've always wanted to play. And to me, that's amazing. It did, however, take me a while personally to come to the conclusion of this is not how I should expect my games that I run and am in to be. And I'm glad I figured that out sooner rather than later and stopped holding myself to that impossible imaginary standard. But I also don't think they ever really I don't know. I don't really know I don't know where that notion, especially for myself personally, I don't really know where that notion came from because they've never ever said this is how D&D is played, and if you don't play it this way, then you suck, or your game isn't real, or whatever, or it's not fun. I don't really know where that notion came from, but it is very much not a typical example of a game of D&D. As once you get down to the nitty-gritty of it. I think as a whole it does, because it's just a bunch of nerds sitting around a table having a good time and telling a story together. I think at its core that's what it is, but on the surface it's very much expanded from that. And I don't think they've ever kidded anybody of thinking that they represent that. They represent the majority of what games are like. But I think that also just comes with being in the spotlight like that. People who don't know what to expect from the game, they watch Critical Role and they think that's the expectation. And it takes a little bit of time for them of actually playing a game to realize, no, that's not how every table is at all. And that's okay. You're not Matt Mercer, and you shouldn't feel like you have to strive to be the Matt Mercer of GMing. They shouldn't be the baseline. I also haven't been playing tabletop roleplay games for very long either. So I'm still very new to the community and what's expected and what to expect, and watching Critical Role was very fun but also daunting, I feel at first, until I realized, hey, those are not the expectations that anybody is holding me to. So I shouldn't hold myself to those expectations. I'm missing so much, I'm sorry. Yes, I completely agree. Yeah, not only that, I think it's nice to watch. I just don't like people putting shows like that on some pedestal, because a ton of home games you play yourself will offer you way more joy and story to actually be a part of. Absolutely. And I feel and obviously I can only speak from my personal experience, of course, but the joy that I feel at my table with my players and my groups is adjacent to, but not the same joy that I feel watching these people play. Um, and I think that did take me a little bit of time to realize, as a fan of the game and of the show, it is a show. Like first and foremost, as an audience member, it is a show. It's the game that they want to play and the stories they want to make, and we get to watch and enjoy the ride. Absolutely. Wait. I'm not Matt Mercer. I'm sorry, Pops. You're as handsome as Matt Mercer, but you're not Matt Mercer. I'm sorry, Pops. We tried to keep that for you for as long as we could. But you are you, which is far scarier than Matt Mercer. That's probably valid. Afraid not, because I'm Matt Mercer in disguise. Gasp! This is like the end of Spartacus. We can all stand up and say, I am Matt Mercer. No, I'm Matt Mercer. He's a nice dude. Met him once. Jealous. Where are all these Matts coming from? That and Jeremy Crawford. He is genuinely sweet. I got to meet him as well. He gave me a hug. I am so jealous of all of you. I will say, first of all, I loved Exandria Unlimited. Loved. Because I personally felt like Abria's DMing style so refreshing. And I feel like it's a lot closer to the style that if I were running a game that I would want to strive for, if that makes sense. Like, not that Matt doesn't let his players fuck around and find out, because he absolutely does. But I feel like Abria just has a different way of going about it that was really nice to watch. And, like, I felt like I could better emulate at the tables that I play at if I was given the chance to. I feel watching Critical Role and diving into it is based on the simple fact that you play yourself. It's like watching someone do art if you do art yourself, or if you're a race driver and watch a race, I feel. That's fair. I love EXE. Me too, it's so much fun. I just don't have time to watch Critical Role. That's fair. It took me a very long time to catch up. Honestly, I feel like the only reason I am even caught up now as I am is because when we first moved here, I was unemployed for like 4 months. And in that time, I was just cranking out art and listening to Critical Role Season 2, Campaign 2, because I could not get into Campaign 1 at the time. Like, I couldn't do it. I eventually did, and I finished it, but I couldn't do it at the time. And I managed to catch up with Campaign 2 until I was completely caught up by that point. And then I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? I need to consume more media. So then I started to try to get into Campaign 1. And admittedly, I did skip to the Briarwood arc because I couldn't stand everything before that for various reasons that I'm sure are commonly felt reasons at this point in the community. But it was just hard to listen to for a myriad of reasons. But I'm glad that, granted, this was me catching up. I was watching like 3 episodes a day for a couple of months in a row when I was unemployed. And then I finally got a retail job to start with, and that very quickly changed to not that many a day. I think I want this to have like cresting waves almost. I'm trying to figure out what style I want. Not like that. I'm trying to figure out what style I want this to be in, because I feel like it would be very like fancy, you know? I feel like this will make more sense when I actually get into the highlights, but for now it might just look a little weird. Please bear with me. There's a method to the madness, I promise. EXU wasn't mine at all. Fair. I'm one of those serious, dark and gritty and broody guys who enjoy those deep, festering stories. That's also valid. I just want to watch the animated show. Same. I think it's released February 2022. I think that's accurate. Confused, or confession, I still have not watched the last fight with the big BBEG in Campaign 1 of Critical Role. I missed it that night and I was scared to watch it, and now it's a really long episode and I've never had the time. That's fair. It is very long. Gunslinger following gun safety rules, finger not on the trigger. Yes. I personally am aware of gun safety rules, and also I use reference heavily because I can't draw guns. So I made sure to pick a reference that would be accurate. Because, like, healing you would be a spell slot that May just does not want to waste if she doesn't have to, so finger off the trigger. It's 1000% worth it. Yes, the end of C1 trumps the end of C2 for me by a lot. I also agree with that statement, if I'm being completely honest. I also feel like Campaign 2 took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and while it's not that I didn't enjoy it, I'm surprised by it. I enjoy the story that they ended up telling, but it's not the one that I expected. And that's not to say that's a bad thing. It's just an observation. I don't really know, like, I didn't have a clear expectation of what I thought the end game would be, but it wasn't that. And it's not scripted, right? So, like, there's no wrong answer. It's whatever they felt was their end game. Save. Oh, I know I need to. It's just when do I have that kind of time to devote to it? That's valid. Maybe, Carolyn, maybe one of these days I will, we can stream it in parts. We can watch it together. I know I still need to watch with Gerald for Campaign 2. Which hopefully I'll be able to do more after the holidays come around. Did it on C2, and I had a lot of trouble with about the last third of the storyline. Just didn't grip me somehow. Honestly, kind of same. Like, it was interesting, but I don't know. I totally feel you there, though. It's kind of hard to describe, like, how... For some of it, I feel like I was just watching to be in the loop, but I wasn't as fully invested in it as I had started, and I think that's okay. Like, sometimes that just happens. It's Christmas season, that should open up some time. Watch an hour each night before going to bed. God, I could not do that because just the adrenaline of watching it would keep me up. And I'd want to watch all of it all at the same time. I very much have that binge watching mentality, unfortunately. Because I just get so damn excited about things. And I'm like, nope, can't break. Have to watch it all in one sitting. Or else I will never touch it again. Alright. Save, and then I think I want to have, like... I want to have some other something here. Maybe just another loopy thing. It doesn't have to be specific, I guess. It's not the centerpiece of the drawing. I just needed there to be something here. Alright, it is a wooden handle, so it doesn't need to be super shiny. Nope, I don't like that color. We're gonna go back to this layer, and we're gonna throw in maybe like an orangey sort of color. No, I still feel like that's too... not right. I feel like that's too warm. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I want to give it the sense that it's carved. So I'm really just highlighting the edges that would be catching the light. And it's not, again, it's not metal, so it doesn't need to be crazy bright. I still don't really think that's the color that I want. I don't know that that's the color that I want. Aren't crazy brights like... Sorry, this is super off topic. I feel like that was some sort of, like, toy or something. With, like, the... Wasn't it, like a thing where you could put, like, little pegs in and it would light up? I don't remember. I feel like it's something. It's definitely something, and I just don't remember what it is. It's fine. It's not important. That gun handle looks a bit weird from an angle, in my honest opinion. It's super straight, just saying, not trying to. No, you're totally fair. I also feel like that's maybe the case. I'm wondering if like, I think it needs to be, what layer am I on? I think it needs to be more like I feel like it would actually be more like, maybe more like that? Like, I feel like there needs to be another plane here, maybe. Like, if I... kind of like that. Obviously not with that there, but, like, I feel like there needs to maybe be another plane there. I don't think links are blocked. They shouldn't be. Again, I'm not good at drawing guns. Maybe if I did, I think I might know a way to adjust that, actually, because I feel like maybe the barrel isn't actually... Let me see if this will help a little bit. Because I can kind of see it in my head. Of, like... oh, the line art's gonna be borked, but that's okay. Like, it could actually have some in the back there. I feel like maybe it actually shouldn't be quite that high up. Maybe is also what's making it look super awkward. Shapes are hard. Thinky, you don't know Christmas in this household. There is no spare time. That's valid, as well there shouldn't be. If only I could draw exactly what I see in my head. Probably good I can't. That's fair. Is this gonna... oh, it's gonna show up on my other monitor. Fark. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I really hecked myself over in that I'm drawing it from a super funky angle. Because I enjoy making my life difficult. Yeah, it just looks dumb. Like, it's just a dumb looking gun. It's so round. I feel like the problem. Like, I don't, like, my brain is like, no, that's stupid. It can't be that round. But it is! It absolutely is. Let's see if that helped a little bit. And we'll zoom out and see what we can do about it. I may end up fixing it off screen because it's frustrating. Oh, and you know what? It actually... I wish I could remember which one I remember I was referencing a specific one. But also, to be fair, it might not have been a real gun. It might have been like a cosplay prop, in which case it would have been a lot more stylized. Also, I'm of the opinion of the fantasy rule of cool. Because if I tried to make everything look like historically accurate as possible, I would not have fun. However, if it looks stupid, I'm willing to change things. I think it looks good. Thank you. Because you see guns in 2020 shape. It's an old school look. I just think guns look weird. I think they're just a bunch of weird shapes, and I don't like them. I have done work... oh. I have work to do that involves audio, so I'll be seeing you later. Have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic day. This is a stupid gun, a hand cannon. It literally looks like, oh. It literally looks like just a really long bottle rocket. It's basically just a super long bottle rocket. That is really dumb. Historically accurate in a fantasy gun in a fantasy realm. I think I'm happy with where it is currently, and I don't want to fix it. I'm gonna just be honest. I don't want to dedicate the time to fix it. But you're not wrong in that it looks a little wonky, and more so than it probably should. But it's a true gun, it's not fantasy. What was I doing? Oh, I remember now. I will revisit the gun. Ooh, let's try marker. Okay, that's a little bit better. I get that statement, but we always try to ground our games in realism. People are weird. This is true. I very much used to do that. Probably too much so. When I started playing D&D. Because, like, it depends on the setting, I think. Like, my Thursday group is very high fantasy. And then my Saturday campaign, Odyssey of the Dragonlords, is, you know, it's rooted in Greek mythology and, like, Greco-Roman sort of settings. But it is still high fantasy at the same time, so... Wobbles would build a hand cannon, except them being so small it would be more of a bottle rocket than a Roman candle. That's fair. Wobbles is precious and I love them. They need to talk with May. I don't... I think that would be an interesting time. May is an interesting individual. May would terrify them, yes, and I'm sorry. They would. True fantasy only exists in Asian MMOs where women wear a chain bikini and it protects like a full plate. Alright, we're gonna save again, and then I think I want to... Ooh, I know what I want to do. I'm gonna go in and do this bit. For her holy symbol. Because she is a Tempest Cleric of Valkyr. Which, fun fact, May is actually a mashup of two different characters that I had a concept for. And I'm glad that I ended up putting both of them together and creating a character out of both of them, because I don't think they would have been as strong separately. But actually the original was yet another potential backup character for my Thursday campaign, because Luciana, it is a goddamn miracle that I still have Luciana after this long. All things considered. That being said, at one point in our campaign, we actually met Valkyr. Luciana was the one to make first contact with Valkyr in Valhalla, because everybody else was, well, they were relying on her high charisma stat. It really is, I think, what it ended up boiling down to. And I rolled very high on my persuasion check to get this god's attention and get us a spot at his table to chill with him, and he was very cool. But I thought it would be funny to have, if at the time I was like, oh well, I go down like pretty much every single combat because I play a squishy sorcerer. So it's like, you know, on the off chance that, you know, what I thought the inevitable chance really of Luciana just totally beefing it. I was like, how funny would it be if I played a cleric, like a Tempest Cleric of Valkyr, and then the party is like, oh yeah, Valkyr, we know him, he's a cool dude, and my cleric being like, what? Excuse me? You what now? You met my god? That didn't end up happening though. But I always thought it'd be funny. Not just Asian MMOs, looks at current character in World of Warcraft. Yeah, she's a Richie. Nothing wrong with that. If that's the character, the type of character you want to play, of course, but it's not fun when that's the only option you're given. I like that necklace, amulet, whatever. Thank you! May likes it too, she never takes it off. Flaming Skull. Yeah! Yeah. Luciana's died twice. She got better, though. What shine layer are you on? You're on that one, okay. Okay. Alright. Yeah, Luciana has been through a lot. My poor girl, she's been through so much. But, you know, we are currently fighting Tharizdun, which is super fun. I hate him so much. And, right before the fight, we ended up stealing a bunch of, well, is it really stealing? I guess technically it is. We ended up taking, a bunch of super, what we didn't realize at the time, super cursed, super evil magic items, from the auction house where we got the submersible. And one of which is a sentient evil staff of power. Now keep in mind, Luciana already has a staff of power. But at the time, I only had 2 charges left on it. And while we did get a long rest, I was a little worried. And I was super debating whether or not I was actually going to take the staff, right? And at the same time, I was just kind of like, there's a pretty good chance that Lucy's not going to make it. So I kind of just had a bit of a YOLO moment and decided to attune to the staff. So Luciana currently is attuned to a sentient evil staff of power. Lovely conversationalist, really. But it has like 50 charges instead of 20, and it has a bunch of other like really cool spells that the other one didn't have, and actually the Dispel Magic spell came in clutch during the battle so far. So no regrets so far. If we continue the campaign after whatever ends up happening during this fight, if we are successful, we do technically still have a story beat that we could wrap up if the group wants to. And if that's the case, then, well, being able to unattune to this super evil sentient item is a future Luciana problem. Because I have a feeling it's not gonna just let her do that. She also has the Ring of Winter. Still, we never got around to touching upon that. No regrets. Exactly. So far, no regrets. Man, it has been such a time so far with this battle. There's so many moving parts to it. We're actually on break though because So I play in this campaign with my husband, and we're both out this week. And then the other couple that's in the group is out next week. So we actually aren't going to be picking up for the final battle until like, I think we decided on like the 17th or something like that. So the anticipation is killing me. We've been building up to this for a very long time. And then I'm also excited to play in May's campaign again. Well, campaign. It was a one-shot, but I'm excited to play again. But that probably won't happen until after the holidays are over. I think I like where her hair is at right now, but I think I want to work on changing out some of the colors of the line art. So I did the line art a little bit differently this time around, wherein I have it set to multiply, and I have it originally as just a dark blue color that I sketched it with, and now I'm gonna go in and make some color adjustments to where maybe dark blue doesn't make sense for it to be that color, and we're just gonna play around with some colors for a little bit. Ooh, you know what I also need to do? I remember now. We're gonna take that. So the other thing about this style of line art that I'm doing is, and I thought I fixed it with Ambrosia's, but it's a textured line art instead of the usual smooth line art that I use this brush for usually, because I really liked the vibe that I was getting with my super refined sketches as the line art, and I was kind of losing some of that when I went in with this new brush. So I decided to try leaving the original lines, which I like, but when I go to do, so what I do for this layer, I'll just hide these for a moment. So what I do to get this is I make sure all of the lines are closed, and then I will hit the magic wand tool and like select all the parts on the outside and then inverse them and then fill in with gray. And that's how I can get the clipping masks to work, so that I'm not actually having to literally color in things. The issue with that is, and you can kind of see it here, it doesn't quite go all the way to the edge of the line art, and it kind of looks a little crunchy. So I'm just going through, and I'm going to fix it only in the spots right now where it's most obviously bothering me. I'm not going to go through and do the whole thing because that's kind of boring for y'all to watch, but while I'm going in with, while I'm worrying about the line art, really, is kind of all I am I'm focusing on right now, since we're at that point. Really mostly on the lighter colors is where I feel like it's most obvious. And then I think once we're done with the line art, it'll be done, which is exciting. And I think once I'm done with the line art, I will call it there for stream, because I have laundry to do, and I also need to eat lunch. I didn't do that yet. Mostly because I wasn't really hungry, but you know, eating food is important. Most people would agree. I think once I fix the sleeves are really the part that was bothering me the most, because I think that's where it was the most obvious. But I'm actually really happy with how this line art technique has been turning out. Even despite the extra little bit of, like, the extra little bit of cleaning up the lines is still less work than going over all of the lines all over again with another brush. So I'll take it. There we go. Pun time. Uh-oh. Now I have to think of a pun? Man, I don't know what I was thinking of making that a channel point redemption, because I'm so bad at doing puns on the spot. I mean, let's see here. My brain really just wants to keep going back to the fact that it's not really a pun, I guess, so much as it's a joke of, I always say that it's appropriate that May is a pirate because she's such a salty bitch. Does that count as a pun? Yeah, this is a great punishment, Pops. Thank you so much. Yeah, the fact that you sprung that on me is real bullshit. That was a stretch. What software is this? This is Paint Tool Sci version 2. Eventually, sorry, just a little bit of a stretch break. At some point, I do want to try Clip Studio Paint because I own it and I've heard it's very comparable to Paint Tool Sci. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I think the next couple of once I get it set up and comfortable with it, maybe the next couple of streams, towards the end of November, early December, I might stream a couple of things in it. But I've been using Paint Tool Sci since like I was a freshman in high school. It was like my very first drawing program, and I adore it. There are a couple of things that I'm not a huge fan of, which is why I usually like to sketch in Procreate mostly. Oh, that reminds me, I have to update my Procreate because the new version just came out like yesterday or something. Side tangent. Anyway, I like the brush options on Procreate a lot better. It's very difficult to, in my opinion, to make a custom brush and find good custom brushes for Paint Tool Sci. But I think that's kind of where Procreate and Clip Studio Paint pick up the slack. But I am a creature of habit, so I kind of just automatically gravitate towards the programs that I know. I need my husband here. You should have seen the tree-related puns from yesterday. Yeah, I probably wouldn't believe the puns that he came up with. A bit punishing, eh? Yes. Makes you want to punch someone? Probably. Hello, Mitch Ninja 88. Welcome to the stream. What can I say except you're welcome? And that's probably all I can sing of that before I get a copyright strike on my channel, so we're not going to continue. So many software options out there. I'm using Affinity Designer Photo. I've heard that's a pretty good one. I also used GIMP for a very short amount of time when I was just starting out. And I think I had some super old version of Corel Painter that came with my very first tablet that I just never used. I've never used Photoshop for actually drawing. Not a fan. I was pining for an end to them. Were they really sappy? I bet they were. What was I doing? Oh, I was doing line art colors. Hi, I have ADD. Welcome to the stream. Pops, I hope my attempt at a pun was acceptable. It took me a while, but I got there. I'm a huge fan of Paintstorm Studio. I've never heard of that one. It took me a long time to get used to Procreate, and again, that just kind of goes back to the fact that I am a creature of habit and new things are scary. But I'm really glad that I gave it a chance and stuck with it, because now I use it for literally everything. Every single piece that I starts in Procreate. I love sketching in it more than I love sketching at this tablet that I'm currently working on, which this is the Q1 Canvas Pro 16. I think I have that listed in my About section more accurately. But I adore it. It's the first graphics tablet I've ever had where I can just draw right on the screen. My other tablets before that were the Intuos Pro and the Wacom Bamboo was my very first tablet. And those were all drawing tablets, but not screen drawing tablets. And my Intuos shit the bed, and I had it for so long and had some money saved up, and I felt like I was ready to treat myself to an upgrade. And I'm so glad that I did. And I got this on like Black Friday sale like 2 years ago. So I am pleased with this purchase. There we go. Get to save. And then I do want to change the color on here. I think maybe a little bit darker. Need to buy a tablet at some point. I'm still on mouse and keyboard, but I do mostly vector stuff, so the awkward drawing with a mouse isn't that much of a factor. I wish I was better at vector. I use Illustrator a lot for my day job, and I am not, genuinely, I'm not very good at it. I'm a lot better now than I was when I started my job. But I didn't really like. I took a digital art class in college. I have a bachelor in a Bachelor of Fine Arts in illustration. But I feel like I really did like. I feel like the class just really didn't do Illustrator any justice, unfortunately. So I just never really truly got the hang of it, and I didn't constantly work in it, so I'm just not super good at it. Like I watch clips of artists like who is it, Hydro74 do their vector stuff, and I'm just like how do you do that? How? It's witchcraft. I don't understand it. It's amazing. It's incredible to watch. And I have so much respect for vector artists who are able to like make things with vectors, because good lord, I can't wrap my hand around it. It never does what I want it to do. I know it all boils down to practice, as all things do, but I wasn't sure that I was going to use the same color for the vest as I would have for the leathery bits, but I think I like it, so we're going to keep it that way. Just to kind of soften everything. I used to do all of my line art in black, and then I realized I actually hate that. So now I do try to actually take the time and color my line art. I think it just makes everything look a little bit more put together in what you could consider my style. I personally don't think I have a style. I think I have techniques that I do to make things look good, or look good in the way that I want them to look good. And I enjoy doing stuff like this, where this is why I like doing, as much as I absolutely adore my clients and doing commissions, it's why I also like doing personal work, because then I can just kind of play with stuff and see what works and what doesn't. And if I really like something, then I bring it into my usual arsenal of techniques, and if I don't, then I don't ever have to do it again. And nobody's mad about it except me. You could probably barely even tell like the color shift for some of these sections because they're already so dark. But personally, I think it's still worth doing. This playlist took a very chill turn, and I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna save that. And we're also gonna, I think I missed our pinky over here. There we go. Save. Okay. And then I also want to just a little bit. Again, you can hardly even tell that anything's changed. I think I want to blend a little bit here too. Just a bit. Just a wee bit. Ah, nope. Wrong layer. There we go. I had $1 for every time I drew something on the wrong layer, I would have a lot of money. I probably... if I had $1 for every time I drew on the wrong layer, I probably wouldn't need to work anymore. Just gonna lighten up this a little bit, because I think some of these sections are a little too dark for the fakey fake bullshit lighting that I've created on this character. God, doing Incarnate. Yup. The other night I was getting angry as to why my coloration wasn't working. Wrong layer. Yup. And, like, I've tried naming my layers, like, genuinely taking the time to name my layers, and it doesn't help me. Like, I'm just not... It's just me going on autopilot and not really paying attention to what layer I'm on. I'm gonna save. I think I don't want that to be as dark either. I'm gonna lighten that up a smidge. Just a smidge. I think the inside of that could be dark, though. Maybe? Yeah. Here we go. Save. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'm actually going to call this done here. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this was sort of outside of my usual streaming hours, so I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm going to drop a couple links in chat before hopping off today. If you... hello! Thank you so much for the follow, Mission Ninja 88. I very much appreciate it. If you are new here and you don't already follow me on Twitter, you can do so here. It's where I post all of my art, pretty much any random shit that I think of or that I like. I also reblog a lot of art. Reblog. This is a Tumblr. I retweet a lot of other artists that I personally adore. And you'll also be able to figure out when I'm actually streaming again on there. If I make any changes to my streaming schedule, that's where I'll post it. If you happen to super like what you see and you would like to toss me another coffee, that's super appreciated, but of course not required. But if you'd like to, you can go there. I also have some membership benefits set up, where you can be part of the Canship crew or higher to get some sweet, sweet bennies. Also, if you are interested in commissioning me at any point in time, my commissions probably aren't going to be open until later on in the year / beginning-ish of 2022. I'm just coming off of a pretty long wait list that it took me far longer to get through than I anticipated. But all of my information can be found there. You could also feel free to hit me up for a quote, or if you just want to see all the other cool stuff that I draw, it also goes to my general website. But thank you all so very much for joining me. I super appreciate it. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And I will see you all at the next stream. Have a lovely time zone. Love you all. Mwah. Bye.